When we're looking at the word deep, what does it mean? So when we look at deep, we say that we're using our diaphragm. We are all about deep breathing. How are we all about deep breathing? Because we're doing breath hold exercises to activate that muscle. Specifically, we're targeting it. We're also doing the semi-supine position, activating diaphragmatic breathing, but we're also breathing through the nose to activate the diaphragm. So everything we do is stirred towards here. But what confuses people is that we also want to bring down breathing volume. But it's not that we want you to underbreathe. No. It's that we're recognizing that modern life is making us breathe too hard. If you look at people's breathing, normal breathing should be about 10 to 12 breaths per minute. Each breath is a half a litre, and that gives you 5 litres of air per minute. That's normal, that's healthy, and that's in every medical textbook. That's what the World Health Organization would define as normal. But if we look at people's breathing during rest, we often see 20 breaths per minute. We see 17 breaths per minute. We see 18 breaths per minute. Each breath could be using the chest, larger breaths, irregular breathing, a sigh interspersed between that. We'll say a normal tidal volume, that's giving us 10 litres of air. Double what we should be. We're recognizing that many people are breathing excessively. We need to bring it towards normal. How do you bring it towards normal? You deliberately get the person to slow down their breathing. As you slow down your breathing, carbon dioxide increases in the blood. As CO2 increases in the blood, after 9 to 12 minutes, it penetrates the blood-brain barrier and it resets the breathing center. So, you start off, your Bolt score is 15 seconds, and your breathing is no natural pause between breaths. This is 15 seconds. No natural pause. Might be half a second, but it's not very much. A reasonably large amplitude of the breath. Upper chest breathing. Maybe some mouth breathing thrown in here. And that's the kind of breath that you will have when your Bolt score control pause is 15 seconds. What I'd like you to do is pay attention to your breathing. Look down at your breath for a moment. Just sit back into the chair. It's been a while since you've eaten, and take your attention out of the mind onto your breath. And just follow the airflow as it comes into your nose, follow the airflow as it leaves your nose, and look at what part of the body is breathing. A few things to look at. Is there a natural pause between breaths? Now, by the way, don't be critical about it, because all I want to do is just show you the information. What's the size of the amplitude? Is it fairly easy to see the breath? Is the breathing rate, how fast is it? Not to necessarily count it, but just to get a sense of how fast is it. Is there a natural pause between breaths? So number one, how big is the amplitude? When you take air into your lung, can you notice the breath quite easily? As you breathe out, is there a natural pause before you need to breathe in? Or as you breathe out, do you need to breathe back straight in again? As you breathe back in again, are you using your chest or your diaphragm? So those few things you look at. Does that make sense? Yeah? You have it? Okay. As your Bolt score increases to 20 seconds, your respiratory rate decreases. The amplitude of the breath will go towards normal, and the natural pause between breaths increases. At this point, you will be more nose breathing, because you're not going to get a Bolt of 20 seconds if you're going around with your mouth open, because you've got lower end tidal CO2. And by nose breathing, you're going to be using your diaphragm more. So 20 seconds, 25 seconds is the cutoff. If you're below 20, 25 seconds, you're more stuck here. If you're above it, you're more in here. If your Bolt score is less than 25 seconds, this is affecting your sports. This is affecting your sleep. So what we want to do is, our whole objective is to bring you from here to here. We're totally about deep breathing. But a deep breath is how far from the top. If you were to look at the definition of deep in the dictionary, the definition of deep is how far from the top. A deep breath just means you're using your diaphragm. How far from the top? Does that make sense? But usually when you ask a member of the public to take a deep breath, they take in a big breath. That's the difference. So we are all about deep breathing. We're all about using the diaphragm. We're all about achieving regular breathing, light breathing, using the nose with a natural pause. It's about efficient breathing.